said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy... State of Fear.
Welcome back to Flyover State of Fear with me, Joe, and Brian. We got a big one for you today. Huge. I mean, this is like Growing Silence of the Lambs. We both have our criterions.
We got our criterions out, baby.
Criterion Summer, because last week
I actually, because part of the reason we got this, we had talked about this because we were talking about this in the last episode. I also, I really made use of the criterion and listened to the original commentary that was on the fucking laser disc when this came out in 1994.
You did listen to that.
I just wanted to let people know that I'm not some bullshitter. I don't just buy a Blu-ray to put it on a shelf.
So you should.
I'm going through all the features. That's why I get them.
That's so cool. I did the so you don't shed the real light in the movie because you listen to that commentary. I did the second disc hour-long documentary that they released in was 2005, I think.
The one that's that's kind of three
parts. They kind of break down.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Watched that featurette. I watched half of the serial killer one. They had the woman dissecting.
Yeah,
that was more.
It retreads some ground that we're all pretty familiar with in the true crime world that we all live in. You know.
Didn't have time to do the commentaries. And I read some of the book. I read Jodie Foster's intro.
The booklet's really great because it's got some actual articles from Thomas Harris, which I think some stuff he wrote, which is great because he's kind of reclusive. You know, he's obviously not on any of the features, no interviews with him really or anything. So having some actual notes from him about creating the Lecter character and stuff, that's it's weird to talk about you're really in your physical media niche when you're talking about the booklet and and the stuff, but no lie, that's pretty good. That's a nice resource,
It is. So that's what we'll be talking about today. And what
Silence of the Lambs, a movie so powerful it practically took over our Scanners review.
Yeah, that's kind of what inspired this and what now I'm calling Horror Criterion Summer.
Yeah, I talked over Criterion Summer. Brutal.
But what I honestly, we just talked last week. I have nothing of note of anything in the horror world to give you a recap on that I've.
No, I don't think I've watched any real horror movies since our last recording that I can think of. I can really quick look at the letterbox just because people love it when you look at your phone on the show. That's a big thing. Everybody loves it.
I started Smallville.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I did talk about watching The Cell.
Yeah, you did.
Which is Silent of the Lambs adjacent in some ways.
Yeah. So real quick for those who don't know, Silence of the Lambs, directed by Jonathan Demme. This was 1991. It was this Oscar. It was an Oscar sweep, but it was because it's horror or thriller. It is.
Yeah, it's always kind of talked about as horror, but I would definitely say it's mostly thriller.
It's thriller. It
definitely has some horrific elements, and there's some real gore stuff that in the behind the scenes stuff you might not think Jonathan Demme would even be comfortable with, but it gets pretty,
Yeah, it's
pretty grim. The man's a pro,
very much grim, and It's funny, looking at, I'm jumping around here, I was going to start giving you kind of the breakdown, but looking at Jonathan Demme's IMDb, it's I think right before this, he makes a mob comedy
Right, he makes Married to the Mob, and I think Something Wild is right before that.
Yes.
Which, Something Wild, I know only as like a movie that I didn't watch that was on Comedy Central all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, Something Wild's on, I guess I gotta go find a different channel to watch. And nothing against it, but I just never cared to watch it. I was just one interested, you know?
Not random, but like what an interesting director to
Yeah,
make
he kind
this.
of was a journeyman.
Yeah,
Came
he's
up
a
under Roger Corman, had done a lot of like B movies and stuff, comedies, music videos. It's funny. After this, he did parlay. He did kind of go on a little like he was kind of like an Oscar darling for a little while because
that's
he
what I
did
was saying.
Philadelphia after this, and that was
Yes.
obviously a big one
That was going to be
too.
my point is going to this and then you're on your Oscar pack because you win best director,
Yeah,
you win best picture, your two actors are, best leads, and I think screenplay. I mean
it
it's
takes the big five, like the biggest, yeah,
and
all the hot
it
tickets,
should and it should. It's a movie you watch and you
obviously.
go, there's movies eventually occasionally you watch and you go, I don't know. Sometimes you look them up and you go, how the fuck was this not nominated for anything
Yeah.
or win? This one, like, I can only imagine because this play, someone's watching it on the USA Network because it used to play on the USA Network all the time.
Oh yeah,
That had
obviously.
been where I first saw it. But yeah, so real interesting career there. Yeah, his last studio movies, Ricky and the Flash, or not even studio, like Ricky and the Flash. It was like smaller movies after that.
Yeah.
That's the music one with
And RIP passed away in 2017, I
oh, he
believe.
did pass away, so
Yeah.
that's why last one. I didn't realize it passed. So Ricky and the Flash 2015, it's like a small movie um
Street
with Meryl Streep being a
Street.
rocker, and like Rachel
I'm
getting
not gonna lie,
married.
didn't look like something I wanted to see. He did make the Manchurian Candidate remake, which is not bad. With
Okay,
Denzel,
that
Denzel and
has
Lee
two.
Schreiber. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Um,
So so
but anyway, let's
anyway,
take our trick take
let's
us
go all the
back.
way
Take us
back.
back, Joe. Take us to 1991.
Let's go to
Tell us about Silence of the Lambs.
okay. Do we want to go old school and read this Google
Oh my God. You
synopsis?
know what? Let's just let me
Because I could
do
give a
Google's
description.
recap here.
I could give a
Now that
recap.
AI has taken over, they'll
No,
be
no, no.
like
I'll give a
Jodie
recap with
Foster, fresh off an Oscar win for Nell, was the starred as Clarice Darling against Anthony Hopkins' romantic lead, Hannibal, the
oh you're
soccer player Lecter. Thank you, Google AI.
yes, that's what it is. No, oh man, I mean it was just written as like so Nell meets the guy from Magic and and then eventually the star of Monk is the serial killer. Anyway,
Like,
no.
oh,
So
something,
Jodie
Monk.
Foster stars as a pretty good one. Stars as Clarice Starling, a top student at the FBI Training Academy. Jack Crawford, the FBI head. I'm adding that. Wants Clarice to interview Dr. Lecter, a brilliant psychiatrist who is also a violent psychopath, serving life behind bars for various acts of murder and cannibalism. Crawford believes that Lecter may have insight into a case that Sterling, as an attractive young woman, may be just the bait to draw him out. That's not a good description. When I said it was a good description, I only got like first few, and I was okay.
Yeah.
That's the first scene. That's all that is.
Right. That's just literally like repeating what's in the movie.
So
It's fine,
I'm going to kind of give a better recap here, and you can improve it.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Clarice
go ahead.
Starling is a student. That's accurate. Her, but the FBI director sees something in her and was like, "Hey, I think you should go interview this."
I think there's a little bit of both. We can talk more about it as we go on, but I definitely do think that because I think the whole movie is about people underestimating Clarice, and I think that starts with Jack too.
Yeah, but
I think
I think
he is never
Jack's
expecting as much out of her as she ends up doing. You know
no,
what I
but
mean?
you wouldn't have anyone go do that. Like, why isn't just an FBI agent going to do that? Is
Right.
my
You could
question.
have sent like he must. I agree that like you could have sent an
Someone
attractive
up.
female full agent. You didn't have to pull this student. He's doing that on purpose,
Yes.
and he's trying to disarm Lecter. But I do also think that like he doesn't expect much out of her. He's trying to draw Lecter out. He's not thinking that she's going to be like
No.
an asset to this case.
No.
She just thinks that he just thinks that she'll be good at drawing Lecter in,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. So there's that, and then in the meantime, it's Buffalo Bill going around skinning large women,
Skinning his humps, as they say in the
and
movie.
basically they know or they're hoping there's some connection in the inside of the psychopath, or if not, what can he give them to because this is killings beyond imaginable. and in a weird pattern that they suspect, right?
Yeah, they're stuck. They can't figure it out. They
That's
need
kind of
his help.
it's a thinking outside the box way of getting them. What I want
And
to
obviously,
ask is,
this, like so many things in this movie that we're going to talk about, is one of the many that became a trope in and of itself. The using a different villain to catch a villain, that
mhm,
sort of thing. That like
quid pro
that
quo,
continues on
quid
to
pro quo, Mr.
yeah.
Brian. No, but what was your what was your introduction? Because I know, what to Sun Slams, because what you had to have been about like what, 13?
No, let's see, 91. I would only been like 10 or 11. So like culturally, I was aware of Silence of the Lambs, but I probably
Okay,
didn't
10 or
see
11.
it till I was probably a teenager.
Okay,
I had definitely seen it by the time, like, was it 2001 when Hannibal comes out?
sure.
I was already
Oh,
well
I'd
aware of it
imagine
by,
like
had seen it by then and everything.
so what so this was one, especially back when we were doing like horror origin stories for guests and things. This was one that like kind of not for myself inspired the question because I had heard a few people like personally. I don't remember if any guests said it. I'm sure one or two had. My dad showed this to my brother at a young age. So then, of course, I had heard about it at a young age 'cause that's how older to younger brothers work. The scene that he brings up that I remember is my dad said, "Don't worry about it," was when the prisoner throws jizz on her face, and apparently my brother Young said, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Or like he threw snot on her, or something like
Honestly, one of the worst things in the
it's
whole
awful.
movie.
But I would imagine I think my brother's like 8 or 7 in this story. Like he's
Yeah.
young.
You got no idea what's going on with
No, no,
that.
no. My dad handled it well because like yeah, he could watch it just a
But
thrillery
it's
and
funny, I could see this being a horror origin, and I think part of it's because it's like a classy movie, and there's like film families who wouldn't necessarily watch something like this, but then would watch it because it was an Oscar contender, and let
yeah.
like younger than usual people watch it because like it's a thinking
Oh,
man's
it's like
thriller,
this is like for talking about
like
like dad specifically. This is just right up the dad thriller. Like,
oh,
oh, that's good.
we
This
used to
is
just we used to bang out movies like this in the
yeah, and
90s.
I
So we've talked
miss
about it a
them.
million times. And like, yes, someone will always pop up to be like, those movies are still coming out on streaming. It's not the same.
They're
I'm
not
telling you,
good.
it's not the same.
Just
The quality's
everyone
not the
looks.
same, the level of acting's not the same, the writing's not the same. It's not the same.
They
Yes,
look.
mid-budget movies are on streaming.
They have that
Not
shit, but
like this though.
they're all shittily lit.
Yeah, they all look like a sitcom. Like,
So anyway, so that's like I just kind of remember growing up in like and like most things like Hannibal Lecter weirdly becomes like even though he's not a slasher, he becomes in the slasher category
speaking of
and
the commentary, and I'll be annoying
and
and
he
bring this up
becomes
all
like
the
a
time.
child boogeyman. Not for me, but like in general, I kind of remember that. And then
Sure.
I think I believe when I first saw it was just like 12 or 13. It was just like on the USA Network cable, and I remember it very because that the two scenes of because I remember like, oh okay, yeah, yeah, and then it's the face with the
Yeah.
guards and hanging, and then just the ending like fucking
The shootout, like the
the
whole like kind
the
of go through
whole
Jane
last
Gum's
act
house and all
is
that.
and
Yeah, the
like I
final
remember
act.
that vividly of watching and being like, let's call it for argument's sake 12 on the USA Network or something
Yeah.
or
Well,
TBS.
and it's also one of those movies I
Or
feel like
maybe it was
much like
HBO. I don't know.
yeah, much like a Shawshank Redemption, a movie that like you could pick it up at almost any scene and it is paced in such a way that you'll just keep watching it. It just draws you in, you know?
It's
It's one of those movies
it's
I can sit down with and the pacing is so good and like every scene even though I've seen it 1,000 times, I'm so excited to get to the next one and the next. You know what I mean? I'm
well, there's
always
that, and there's even those like little scenes when like that like slips your memory. At least like when you're like, it's not little about it, but like when she goes to that one house, that lives next door to where Buffalo Bill was living, and she talks to that one person.
yeah.
It helps. It's just nice. I don't know. It's just I go, ooh, this is a good scene that you could cut. You could cut. It's just her investigation. And then like
But it's also got so much going on with it as far as like what we've learned about Clarice throughout the movie is like coming to a place where now she is an investigator, has to go back to essentially the type of place she came from. That's like the type of
Yeah.
town Clarice grew up in. And
Oh, it's a
now
great
she's
scene.
there, like, and that like insight into that world is what helps her find something that every man who investigated and searched that room never found. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
she finds the one clue that they never came upon because they didn't have that kind of connection to her.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So,
So it's so
so
good. So I know we're just like
yeah.
I
Well,
just like
before we get
Chris.
too crazy
I
and
know I
jump
just
around
Chris
and everything,
Farley'd it.
the plot's pretty strong, like you talked
Yeah,
about. They get Lecter's help. They uh not necessarily Lecter kind of toys with them, but because he does like Clarice earns his respect, he does eventually give her enough confidence to basically figure it out herself.
yeah,
And in the meantime, he escapes. And that's the plot
yeah.
of the
I
movie.
think
He
I
gets
think
out, she catches her man, but the other man gets away. And that's kind of like the broad strokes. And now
yeah.
we can talk about the movie freely without have to worry that nobody understands what we're talking about.
Okay. Um. Yeah. I mean, I just want to go back because I said the shit around this movie and like where or like Lexington or like our cultural zeitgeist and things is so everywhere and ingrained. Like talking about childhood, like another thing that I saw before I saw Silence of the Lambs because I made my mom rent it was the parody movie Silence of the Hams with Dom DeLuise.
Oh my god. Oof.
At probably
The
the age of like,
parody movies were in their real death spiral in that
oh, I
era
had to
too.
have
That's the
been
spy hard
I
era.
had to have been like 6 or 7 because it was in the comedy section.
Sure.
And it's the covers like that looks funny.
Yeah.
And I don't know why my mom said yes. All I kind of remember of it is, and I'm too young to be like, I think cool. I just know like I shouldn't be looking at it. Is like whoever the lead woman they got in is like they show her boobs a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know if there was any jokes. I think they were just like naked girl joke, naked girl. Like it was
Yeah, they're like,
clearly
get
like
it? This is like a body, which is
no,
funny, like as a parody of Silence of the Lambs, because it's not particularly sexual in that way, obviously, you
it's
know.
Dom DeLuise. Anyway, so that's my so like saying, but even like today, while we were waiting to record, I mean saying even today, you know, that's still there. I'm watching I mean this is kind of not embarrassing. Don't judge me. I've been having American Dad on as my background show. Just
People say it's
whatever.
good. I'm just not. I haven't
It's
really watched it.
kind of annoying sometimes. Sometimes it's not. Laura's not loving me these last couple weeks, but it's been there, right? I'm like, oh great, 20 seasons, 30, whatever. I don't know what year I'm at. Let's just call it 2016.
Yeah,
The episode's a fucking Silence of the Lambs parody. I shit you not.
right. Of
Like
course.
like I'm watching the episode, they go to a house and there's people in a well. And
Yeah,
then like someone's
I was
making
thinking a guy we're
excuses.
there's a guy we're both familiar with in
Anyway,
this movie, Charles Napier, who was, he's a general in Austin Powers, and he's Duke Phillips on The Critic. And I was thinking about how The Critic did Silence of the Lambs parodies, and that was like
it was probably the
that was like
first
2 or 4 years after it came out.
it
Like
was probably the first like
they're doing it
and
immediately.
they're still doing them.
This movie will, and like his performance immediately got so iconic that like the guy on the commentary who's like the FBI dude is mad about how like he became like a camp figure and like
Oh,
it
The
was
guy was
like
Jack
made it so
Crawford.
that people didn't like take serial killers seriously enough or whatever,
Oh, the main FBI guy.
he's like an FBI dude who was like not the actor, he was like the guy who was like their consult on
Yes.
it. Yeah,
I mean,
an actual
it's
FBI agent,
yeah, yeah,
actual
yeah, yeah.
profiler guy.
I mean, what I guess if you had a criticism of it, it was just so big is like, yeah, you don't need, to do that to Lecter to be sequels, but I was, and make him like an
Yeah,
icon status, but just became that with the mask and the rollout.
yeah.
But I
So
was
much, yeah.
thinking,
The vision, the imagery of this movie is really
I
powerful
was
too.
thinking,
So it like burned into people's mind
yeah,
immediately.
and that's what
Like,
they remember because I was thinking like, oh, it's great right now. We don't have like I don't know, 75-year-old, I don't know if she is, Jodie Foster being like, we're getting Clarice Sterling, like
back together.
like the
We're
band
getting
back
the gang back
together.
together.
And it's like, like Halloween Kills. or fucking Terminator Genesis.
Yeah,
And
thankfully they're smart enough to not do that with it.
and
Now,
like I don't know, it's nice that, and it's interesting. One of the things I noticed talking about Jodie Foster here, and she mentions in that documentary, and she literally mentions in her little write up in here how she's like, I know it doesn't, people don't like hearing it, but we had a lot of fun making the movie. She's like, she tries to be respectful, but she's always like, it was just such a nice time. And
yeah, she talks about it in some of the behind the scenes stuff too, where she was like, even at first, she was like, Jonathan Demme was kind of trying to keep it a little light, and she was like,
yeah,
"Is this okay? Is a little disrespectful."
yeah. So
One of the
anyway,
interesting things about her casting, obviously, she really wanted the movie. She had even
hmm
already tried to like buy
should
the
like
rights
buy
before
it.
somebody else got them. When Jonathan Demme came on, she was sure that he was going to try to give the role to Michelle Pfeiffer because they had just
hmm
worked together on Married to the Mob,
Michelle
but
Pfeiffer said no.
she didn't want to do it or couldn't do it, one or the
Well,
other.
two
And
good things
she was like,
happen in development. You're absolutely right. Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe, said no.
yeah,
And Jodie Foster was like, please.
please,
Um,
please, Mr.
uh,
Lecter,
yeah, you do it
let me
better,
get that part.
Mr. Lecter.
Well, she
But
was coming off of an Oscar win for The
yeah,
Accused,
it's a big get.
but she was like willing. She talks about like there were people in her life who were like, "Why would you tell Jonathan Demme you want to be the second choice?" She's like, "No, I lobbied to be the second choice. I was like, I'll be there if Michelle can't
Mhm.
do it. I'll
And
do
like
it."
she was pretty consistent of like, no, this is a movie about like a woman helping women, and we'll do
Well, and
anything we can.
obviously, again, one of those situations where all like the lesson she learned was don't listen to anybody but myself
Yeah,
and take my own advice because what an amazing like she'd
it's
been I mean,
so good.
obviously child star. She talks about herself. She's like, I played a lot of victims. I was looking for
hmm
something different. And talk about a pivot. She never I mean, her career was never the same. Like she went on to play like these powerful leads. In fact, it almost became like a joke that like Jodie Foster movies were always about a female lead who like kicked ass and like panic
And it's
room and
good.
yeah, she's good at it. And She's great at portraying vulnerability, but also being strong. That's obviously all on display in this movie too. Um,
And
I want to keep talking about the casting. We
but yeah,
can,
casting. So I wanted to give like so
yeah,
then you have Hannibal Lecter, right? The So that their first choice, at least Demi says, he goes, I had two options. I either had Anthony Hopkins, who I wanted, who was more of like he wasn't a star, he was a theater actor.
biggest thing
But
he had done was probably the Elephant Man before this.
yeah, Elephant Man, like I said, we know him from Magic, but I think that
Yeah,
has second
but he
life.
had
But he
never like broken out. And even Anthony Hopkins also talks about he's like, I wanted to be in a big American movie. Everybody did. Like,
yeah,
that's like something we all strive to do.
absolutely. And their first choice was not first choice, the Hollywood choice was Sean
The
Connery.
money choice,
Yeah.
basically, like
It,
mainstream choice.
And I think that's how Demi, it's in that doc on the thing, he mentions and
Yeah.
he goes, no, we'll just call it mainstream. But I think he said like glitzy choice. And Connery said no. And that's when he went, great, I'm really glad you said no.
Yeah.
And Anthony Hopkins, the most interesting tidbit about like that development to me is, uh, uh, God, Gene Hackman
Yeah.
was the one that had the rights
He
secured
bought the rights and was
and
going to
he was
direct
gonna.
and maybe even like play Jack Crawford or something.
I think it was Jack Crawford. I mean, those things might say Hannibal Lecter, but it's probably Jack Crawford if we're really. But he gets it. The script's not really complete. The day he gets the script complete, and like the offers go out to like a Jodie Foster, he goes, "No, too violent. I don't want it." So then, like now, Jonathan Demme blindly said yes without a complete like script and everything. It was like great,
Like just
let's
scoop it up if it's available and we'll
yeah.
like work on it. But
Uh,
he also knew the screenwriter whose name escapes me, but also won an Oscar. But he knew the guy attached
Haley,
who was working on the screenwrite,
yeah,
the screen adaptation was good too.
yeah.
We should talk real quick about Thomas Harris adaptations in general.
Yeah, you
Because
want to tell me about it? I know we covered so
it's
years and years ago we covered Manhunter on
yeah. It's kind of, in my opinion, a can't miss IP. Like there have been no, I mean, granted, some of the later
Hannibal
Silence of the
Rising
Lambs
is on
sequels
watching.
weren't
It's unwatchable.
great, but the actual like franchise itself and the casting and everyone like in the Manhunter, you've got uh fucking Brian Cox as Lecter. You've got
Hmm.
Dennis Farina. You've got William Peterson. It's a Michael Mann movie. It's not quite like it's probably most people probably wouldn't consider it top tier Michael Mann, but I really love it. I
It's
think
good.
Manhunter's
We had a
really
good time
great.
watching it when we watched
Yeah, I think we did that one for the Flyover
we
regular
did that for
Flyover, right? Yeah.
Flyover. I at the time, I don't know, there might be one of our not a Criterion, but an Arrow or a Sleek Manhunter. What I know is it's a hard one to get your hands on at least a Blu-ray. I have it in like a Hannibal Lecter like four
Oh,
pack or
three
three
pack, yeah.
pack, and I have it literally a three pack for. I was like, Manhunter's on this. I own it. I have the Blu-ray. It's hard to get. If they ever revive it, right? Like that seems prime for your
I feel
fucking
like there
cartoon.
is somebody who just announced one, or maybe it was in the UK only or
It's probably
something.
a UK
I feel like
one.
pretty recently there was a new one. Um, but then obviously you have the Mads Mikkelsen show, which was incredible too.
That was great.
Brian
That
Fuller did
deserved.
that, and that show was really, really good. Again, the casting on that, Lawrence Fishburne as Jack Crawford in that is really incredible.
So that deserved.
Fleshing out the Will Graham character more.
Yeah, that show just deserved a proper ending for how good it was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the third season it fumbles a little bit, I would say, because they kind of try to mix in both stuff from Manhunter and stuff from Hannibal, and it gets a little
Mhm.
jumbled. But the first two seasons are really incredible. And like I said, I just don't think there's been anything particularly bad. I do love that what people might consider Ridley Scott's worst movie and what also people might consider Brett Ratner's best movie are
Mhm.
both in this franchise. Is Hannibal and Red
Red
Dragon.
Dragon.
So
Hey man, Tower Heist was pretty shitty, but I had a good time. Rush Hour 1 and 2.
the thing about the
Uh,
Rush Hour movies is there's just like so many Jackie Chan movies I'd rather watch.
I know. I know. By the way, to answer my own question, it's kind of frustrating. I hate when this happens. Scream Factory put out Manhunter,
Oh,
and I
okay.
guess a limited printing because you could buy it for $150.
Ooh, man. I think I have a limited edition Arrow, the not Arrow, Anchor Bay DVD that also
Hmm.
includes like a director's cut that the quality is really shitty.
Oh, I'm sure. Like I'm looking at it right here just because I've been clicking around. Definitely bought it. $16. The Hannibal Lecter collection, Manhunt, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal.
Boom, nailed
Great.
it.
I have it. It's on the shelf. Anyway, you're absolutely right though of the IP of it all is
It's just very
ex
strong.
yeah,
It's got a good
it's
track
good
record,
characters.
and that speaks to the strength of the books. You know, obviously Red Dragon came first, but Silence of the Lambs is like the jewel,
Well,
the crown jewel,
don't
I
give
would say.
me it's been a minute since I like looked it up, but um the Hannibal show, which I do own, they can't use any of like the Silence of the Lambs like in
Right.
like IP itself, right? So there is no Clarice.
Something about the rights, the Silence of the Lambs rights are separate from like the Red Dragon,
Mhm.
Hannibal Rising rights. Those are
And they
all you can
were,
kind of use all those together,
and if I
but you
remember,
can't use the Clarice Starling
you
stuff.
can't use Clarice
Right, I think
Starling
it's
at all.
specifically her
Yes,
because
I
like, and if you make a movie or a show, which they try to do about Clarice Starling, you can't really use Hannibal Lecter. I don't think.
interesting because that's the most like inherently because I'm a sicko. I'm like I do want to see like I want to see where Clarice is in her career or what happened to her, but I want to see like, and I don't want it when I say this. I don't want it, but I want the Jodie Foster one. I don't want the
You don't want Julianne Moore.
I don't want I like Julianne Moore, but
Mhm.
like
I actually don't think Hannibal's bad. I think as
it's
far as
fun.
the
It's
movie, I'm talking
fun.
about the Ridley Scott movie. I think it's
Yeah,
fine. I
it's
think it's pretty
fun.
decent.
No, all the rest of the movies except for Hannibal Rising, which is a piece of shit. I went to the
Hannibal
theaters.
Rising is one of those ones that the first time I watched, I was like, "Oh, you know what? This is okay." And then you go back to it, and you're like, oh my
So
god,
so
avert
that's
your eyes, children."
so that's age because you were like a mature age then. I was like
Yeah.
in middle school. I remember leaving. Me and my cousin went. I was like, "This is gonna be fucking sick." Like the trailers look so good because I'm that
Yeah.
naive, and I remember being so bored and disappointed in
Yeah.
that movie. And I just hold that opinion. So I haven't revisited in years. So this is the
Yeah, I
opinion
mean,
of a
like I said,
12 or this is
there's
the
I
opinion of a
just remember
14 year
kind of being
old.
like, oh, maybe like trying to
2007,
squint hard enough to see a decent movie in there, and you're like, you sometimes just gotta let it go.
2007. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like 14, 13. But what's funny, I see the poster of it is here. It is how like after that, the mask. It's like, oh, he'd been wearing these caged like no bite masks his whole life.
Yeah,
He'd been
but he
putting
just
in,
so happens he was wearing a samurai mask. That just is coincidentally that he was wearing a samurai mask as a child.
but no, it that's a it's things two television adaptations. What are the two?
The Clarice Show.
Oh, you just said that. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
even.
I
Hey,
never saw any of it. I don't know.
when that fucking come out?
After Hannibal, it's a post Hannibal thing.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. But anyway, um, yeah, that I mean, I was talking about all that, the robustness. Yeah, the silence of it has been there. And I was thinking about it today also while watching. The name is so unique, right? We don't get movies, I don't think, titled with like interesting names. Like The Silence of the Lambs is an interesting name.
yeah, I agree with that. And it
It's a
does, and it's like it's a mystery in the movie that like slow that they pay off eventually too. That they're like
yeah,
working. You don't realize that, of course, when you're first going into it, but it is
no.
something that like
And I
you
mean like
figure out later
and
is important.
and I think Jonathan Demme also was like, or someone when they got the script or whatever, thought was like, am I making a kids show because of lambs and
Yeah, yeah.
but like I don't know, maybe because I just have it in my head of its culture. Like it's a it's a weird name for a movie that like this was a hot ticket movie, right? This wasn't like they knew it was going to be good.
Oh yeah.
So like usually when
There was buzz about it. Well, because the novel had been like a hit,
yeah,
a bestseller and
I
all
remember
that
seeing
too.
that novel on like all like my uncles and shit's bookshelves and like big
Yeah.
red spine, Silence of the Lambs, um, or black spine, red text. But yeah, everyone had that fucking book. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge hit. Another big thing about it and how good this movie is and its staying power, even in 1991, is it comes out on Valentine's Day, so it's a sexy movie. No, it's
So
s-
take your date to the
take your
new.
date, and she's not gonna want to listen to Tom Petty on the way home. But it comes out right, and it's a February movie that wins an Oscar.
That like stay had enough
It
staying power that by the time you
stays.
come around, basically almost a full year later, when we're doing Oscar season, it still won, and
It
that's rare.
no, that's rare. You know
Let
what should
alone
have?
for a fucking horror thriller, a movie
Yeah,
that was never meant a type of movie that almost never wins an Oscar.
no, and it's does great, right? Um, what my one gripe is that should have also been Zodiac, but like that's
Yeah,
no one looked at
obviously,
that at the day.
obviously.
That was just that came and went. And now we talk about it in Breath of Sweet Airs all the time.
I'll never
I'll
stop.
never
I'll
stop
never
yelling
stop.
about that. That and like Prometheus, people are like, we get it, guys.
You don't get it.
I'm like,
You
you
need to
don't,
hear it again.
because we're getting
Huh?
more.
What was that? She should have run to the side. Fuck you.
Oh, that's your one complaint? Oh, cool. All
Oh,
right.
what? They took off their masks? Go fuck yourself.
Oh, anyway,
Anyway, back to a good
but
movie, Silence of the
so
Lambs. Very good.
more cool shit about this movie. It was submitted to the Library of Congress in 2011 because, as you have mentioned, it is a cornerstone. It is a lot. It means a lot. You had a tweet out today where it was like, "Wow, what a picture!" Like that's what
Yeah,
it's how I feel. Like,
absolutely.
wow, what a picture.
I think about it. I think that when I watch this movie, well, it's really, like the watershed nature of the police procedural and investigation movies and like CSI stuff. Like without this movie, there's no X-Files, there's no, we talked about Copycat and The Cell and like endless
Oh
serial
my
killer
God.
movies. I mean, Zodiac itself doesn't exist
No,
without
no, no,
Silence of
no,
the
no,
Lambs.
no, no.
Not to mention other David Fincher, because David Fincher loves to adapt murder books, and like
Seven probably doesn't exist
Seven probably
because
doesn't exist without Silence of the Lambs. Absolutely.
I mean, it's everywhere. Its hands are in fucking everything.
Yep.
Or it's print. I should say it's
I
prints.
mean, even stuff like The Dark Knight, when you have your Batman and Joker, you can't help but think
Oh,
about Lecter
that's
and Clarice. You know what I mean? Anytime you've got your a face off between your antagonist and your protagonist, and they're dead
face
looking, staring right in each other's face.
fucking face off.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
truly.
literally the scene in the cell with plastic.
Uh,
Like
tell me, the Magneto's prison isn't a Hannibal
no,
Lecter.
it all is,
Like,
and then even the way our like villains uh are so quiet and
oh, well,
subdued.
obviously the birth of the myth of the brilliant serial killer comes right. Like,
Yeah.
you can see it becoming a thing
I,
that we like all ascribe to now, even though it's not. It's like wildly untrue. Serial killers are fucking disgusting, insane freaks.
yeah,
They're not brilliant. They're not sophisticated. They fucking smear shit on the walls, and they're
they're
fucking
that guy who threw the
monsters.
cum.
Yeah, they're the guy that threw the cum. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Um, I don't know. It yeah, imprint is everywhere. It's like I look at today and it does it a disservice when I say it. I've said it on multiple podcasts and things is, oh, it's crazy to think, it's crazy to think that like this movie basically like they burned through the beats of this in like every episode of fucking CSI and Law and Order and all these, but
Yeah,
but they
criminal
do.
criminal
Criminal
minds.
Minds,
Yeah.
yeah, but they do. I mean, give or take the nuance and the things and the
No,
goodness of
obviously
the
they just trim
characters,
it down, but they take what
but
this
it's like,
movie, the blueprint of this movie, and they just recreate it over and over and over
mhm.
again. And that has been a successful formula for the last 30 years.
It's like I don't know. I'd be implored to go back and watch something like pre this, like in TV, of like you know Kolchak the Night Stalker or something like that, and be like, okay, what did you do? And then Silence of the Lambs come out, and now I'm gonna watch like NYPD Blue in like 1997 or something,
Yeah.
right?
It's like watching sci-fi movies after
Star
Alien
Wars.
and Blade Runner
Oh
and
yeah.
Star, like the more lived in, like cyberpunk kind of, like, what I mean. You just all of a sudden it's like a total shift, and
So yeah, I mean, I think so. There's so much in that aspect. I keep saying, but I guess let's talk about the actual movie. Uh,
yeah. uh as far as it really, like I said, it really moves.
I mean, you start off right away with,
I mean,
uh,
you're having your first meeting, that iconic first meeting with Lecter, where you're standing in the middle of the room. That's probably what, less than 20 minutes into the movie.
well, it's
You're
like,
already hitting that up.
I mean, that's 15, 10.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you're right. You're off to the races
Like
already.
her introduction, and it does a great filmmaking thing of when you first are the movie is so in the perspective of Clarice, like you're seeing everything through her eyes. The first thing
Literally
moves,
to the point where almost everybody is talking directly into camera. Like,
yeah,
you
her
are
except for her
looking it from her perspective.
and her. So the big thematics of this movie, or one of them, is like labyrinth and mazes and things like the movie structure like that. But the camera structure like that when you first get in too, like it's moving quick. Like she's going through the training, right? So she has to go through obstacles. The first and last
Yeah.
shot of this movie are so fucking perfect, but she's doing that. But the way people are talking to her is very overwhelming because everything's so close and it's like it's not physically spinning, but it feels spinning. I don't know if you
Yeah.
feel that when you watch it.
No, I know what you mean. Well, it
Um,
definitely feels like she's just like this is a lot. Like, being a student, being at the academy is a lot.
yeah,
Like,
and when
she's working hard. She's
yeah,
doing a lot.
and when she gets pulled, like I said, I feel her. I feel like Jack is, I would say, the most on her side, where like treats her like a human,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Well,
the meat.
he does mention the thing he remembers her. He had a class. He taught a class, and she like
Mhm.
grilled him about
She's like A
the
minus. Yeah.
the civil rights record of the FBI, and and I think that's why he's like, she wasn't afraid to stand up to me. She wasn't afraid to speak her mind to me.
Hmm.
She'll be a good one to send a lector. Like I
Yeah.
said, I don't think there was ever a thought in his mind that she would be the one helping solve this case.
Probably not.
Like,
Right.
I don't think that was his initial. I just thought he was like, she was feisty. She can stand up to lecture. It'll either work or it won't, kind of
He's
thing.
behind
Like,
bars. It's not a
yeah,
big. It's not a big deal, right?
yeah.
Um. But then the first time you get that Disney, it's like, oh brother, and it kind of happens in a good way, like over and over again, and it was in a good way for the story. Uh, she goes to the hospital, psychiatric hospital, and immediately the fucking doctor that was smarmy doctor that worked there is hitting on her. You know,
So yeah, Chilton's such a fucking creep,
he's
right?
just like, he goes, you're really good looking, or pretty. He's like, you hanging out in Baltimore? I could show you around. She's like, nah, I'm good.
Also, real quick, since you mentioned Baltimore and these movies and the whole Thomas Harris universe kind of takes place in the Baltimore, Washington area, I do wish that some of these people, like just a few of them, it doesn't have to be everybody, but they should have that like really heavy John Waters, like, welcome to Baltimore. Hey, come down.
Or
Hey,
sound like
you like
fucking
Baltimore can be a fun city if you like,
sound like Stavros.
like there's just a taste. It doesn't have to
Oh,
be
the
everybody.
O's. You catch the O's game last night?
Yeah, yeah, I would love to see some of that. But anyway,
Uh,
not sorry, I
oh
digress.
God, what? There's so many things we watch where we're like, no one has a fucking accent. You all have an
Yeah.
accent. Um,
But you're right, and this talk speaks a little bit to that thing like we talked about everybody in the whole movie is constantly underestimating Clarice, you know what I mean, and not and kind of like talking down to her and condescending to
mhm,
her in some ways, and you know, obviously there's a theme in the movie of a woman cop and her kind of overcoming these stereotypes and kind of like rising to the surface, which is so funny, that I don't know, the things that people would complain about now. You know what I mean? They'd be like, the DEI story forced this
oh,
woman cop down my
Mary
throat.
Sue.
The Mary Sue. Yeah,
Even though you just
exactly.
see her
Sorry, I just
struggling and
my brain is just poisoned by online culture. I can't help but
none
think
of
of
but
this.
me too, because apparently to that none of this stuff, everything that happened before like 2017, there was never a story about a woman. It was all men.
Right, right, yeah.
It was all they're all white.
Yep.
It
We
was
just
about a
started doing
woman.
it.
She knew her lane and didn't criticize the men or the institutions. Apparently that never a big popular story was told ever about that. Um, but you know, so anyway, they're investigating Lecter. I'm sorry, they're talking to Lecter, and
Yeah,
they're
they have their
investigating.
first. We're talking about their first interaction, obviously, and the
And he's just toying with her, you
he's
know,
intrigued a little bit. We get some of that brilliant serial killer thing. He's like smelling her, he's telling her what cologne she's wearing.
yeah,
She or what I love what he says, like, when he says you sometimes you wear whatever, but not
she thinks
today. Like the idea that it's so faint,
it's
but he can tell that you
Aquavella.
used to wear it, but you're not wearing it today is it's a great little it you get into a lot more of that in the Hannibal show and stuff, with the
Mm,
really super refined tastes of
mm.
Hannibal and like his real
Well,
classiness.
yeah, I mean, when he just keeps nagging her in there too of your second rate shoes, like
Well,
right,
that's the
like
thing. He starts off kind of friendly, but then she tries to kind of like edge the conversation back to what she's there for,
and you
and
don't
he
like
doesn't
that.
like it. And as soon as he does, and that's when he turns on her, and he just the way he breaks her down, it literally basically makes her have a nervous breakdown in the parking lot afterwards.
Oh, great! Actually, I got a good fact to that scene. So they hired uh, Jodie Foster interviewed a bunch of like female FBI agents and several, and one of them, I don't know if it was the one they had also consulting on the set or was like, you should include crying after that. Like
Yeah,
that's
I
good for
believe
your
that.
character. That's good for your character and will be realistic
Yeah.
of
Well,
a
I mean,
day in
after
their
the shit he
life.
says to her, he calls her a rube, which, first of all, man, just like an
With
underrated insult as far as I'm concerned. Calling
mine,
somebody a rube,
yeah,
like
that's a
really puts you in
you
your
would
place.
like I'm dumb enough where I'd be like, no, I didn't even know this. He didn't even say anything that bad. He called me a rube.
Like,
Um,
I love an insult that doesn't hit because the person you're insulting doesn't even understand the
yeah.
word. Like, I was
Um,
thinking about that. There's a Chappelle Show bit where they talk about that, where the guy calls him a moron, and he's like, "Moron? What's a moron, cuz?" Like, so good. I love it.
um, oh, that's good. One of the most underrated parts about that scene of how good he is, though, is when he slips into the southern accent. He keeps going back and forth in that southern accent and slips into it. And apparently, that is also like Jodie Foster, like upset her, like it as
Because
in
he
the
was making fun
character.
of her. Yeah, he's like
Yeah,
literally mocking her.
it's so good. It's and then she thanked, she's like, "Oh, thanks for doing that. It helped the scene and genuine because it's because when I'm listening, I'm like, is he? No, he's supposed to be like
Oh yeah,
British or
he's doing a
something.
little. He's a with your good cheap shoes and your good bag, and he's
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's got a
but he goes in
little.
a little southern. It's so good.
Honestly, and we already are guilty of it. It's hard not to do a little Jodie Foster, Mr. Lecter.
Oh yeah,
It's
we
hard
should,
not to do. You
Mr.
want to get
Leck.
into. So you want to. It's so iconic. Just her inflection.
Ah, yes. Well, okay. Yeah, it's. I mean, I think good movies, iconic movies, they create iconic characters, and like you're
Yeah,
gonna do the voices, right? Like you can't do a Forrest Gump line without doing the Forrest Gump voice. It's
you're
nearly
gonna can't.
impossible.
Don't do it. You're gonna get canceled, Joe. Don't
For
do it.
Forrest Gump voice,
Don't do it. You're gonna get canceled for Forrest Gump voice.
I one time canceled a I can't do it. I probably can. I'm just
Canceled is canceled
canceled is
does.
canceled does. I one time got a subscription to a cancel, but then I canceled it myself. I don't know what that is. That's a terrible go.
Oh, we
But
should do it. We why aren't we famous? I don't
I
understand
don't
it.
know. I don't, we who begs the question.
So good at this and funny and clever. Our impressions top notch.
They don't all sound the same.
No,
But no. So
I like a
every
good impression, but that starts with saying the name of the
she,
person you're doing the impression. That's
well,
the way you really
is
do it.
she, well, it's like is she a great big fat person? You know,
Huh?
like the Buffalo Bills to
We
me
haven't
they
even talked about Ted Levine,
so
and
we're talking about in culture, and I kind of mentioned it earlier how with the Ted Levine, I just did impression, whether people know it or not. Well, the voice that Seth Green came up with for Chris and Family Guy is just his Buffalo Bill impression.
yeah,
That's
he's just got that kind of bubble in his
no,
throat.
that's all it
The
is. He goes, I just
yeah.
did Buffalo Bill in 1999, and here we are today. But anyway, yeah. So we're actually get to Ted Levine right now. So yeah, that scene's awesome in the just the meeting in the sense of talking and how like impactful it is. And my brain's kind of been fucked since compare this to The Dark Knight because like that is the other interrogation sit down scene where like that and Heat and fucking Silence of the Lambs where you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, go on,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah,
talking to each
absolutely.
other. Um, but no, so Ted Levine he's the serial killer. I mean, I'm stealing it from Jonathan Demme, but I agree with him. He's the glue of this movie. He's why it works. The creepiness of him. That's why you might not come away being like that, and you might be going, "Oh, Hannibal's the star." Buffalo Bill playing Ted Levine and just being so good in the character and creepy, but
Yeah. The movie is like it's a great two-hander, but like he's a strong enough leg. He makes the tripod. There's actually three incredible performances here, and Ted
mhm.
Levine has a little bit more to do because he has to convey a lot with a lot less screen time. Buffalo Bill does not get the kind of attention that
No.
Lecter gets. That's definitely the most that was cut from the book to the movie is a lot of stuff about his backstory and his kind of like struggle with what's going on with his sexuality and kind
So
of
that is explained.
gender performance. It's a lot of that is there in the book, but they had to trim a lot of it back. But like Ted is bringing a ton of it to every time he's on screen. He's like doing as much as he can to convey
Sure.
the emotions and the, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like
he got
I think
nominated.
it's a heavy load to, and to not be cartoonish also,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
he says in that doc, he says he's, you know, he talked to like every degree of, you know, at that time, especially the spectrum of sexuality, and went to nightclubs and tried to just get a kind of a hold of a good way to portray a character like that without being seedy. I don't think the character of, at least in the movie, because I don't know in the book, Buffalo is so much a like, oh, like criticism of the sexuality of, you know, of that. I think it's just more of like, this is what this crazy person is going through.
You
Um,
know, and obviously we talked a little off camera. This movie, when it came out, became a target for those criticisms
yeah,
because there is a long-standing history of othering your villains, you know, queer coding your villains,
sure.
and so this obviously immediately. But I do like the, you know, Hannibal Lecter goes out of his way to make sure to actually like verbalize that, you know, Buffalo Bill
Well,
isn't actually
well,
transsexual.
I mean, to give a, that's part of the problem
Hmm.
of, I mean, I'm kind of just
No,
parroting, is saying the assumption of like, I don't even think he realizes that he may or may not be. He's going through it, right? That's part of it. But I think in the movie's eyes in 1991, it,
right.
no,
They're doing, I'll tell you what, I think this
no, I
movie
like
is doing a
Jodie.
better job with it than Psycho does with it
Yeah,
for the science of its time.
I
You know what I
like,
mean?
I
Like,
like, I agree. I like Jodie Foster. Clarice's explanation even when Jack brings it up, she immediately hits back with, "No, you know, transsexuals are known to be quiet, peaceful people."
yeah.
She doesn't use the proper term of the time, but like you can't fault him for that. That was the,
No, no.
you know,
Well, and I
she
also
says
think that like
transvestite instead of, but like
again,
it's
maybe more depth if they could have gotten more into the kind of abuse that was suffered, we could have had a little bit more of an idea of what Bill is trying to achieve,
well,
you know.
where do we? I only shit like that. I only ask, where do we see that? Because
That's what I'm saying. It's not really in the movie,
where
unfortunately.
but where in the movie? Because you said that the movie moves. The movie's like, I'm sure they filmed it. I mean, or something to give more explanation or
I mean, I know there's 30
whatever.
or 40 minutes of cutting room stuff on the cutting room floor. I did not watch a lot of the deleted
I did not
scenes.
watch the deleted scenes.
Um,
Deleted scenes kind of can be a slog.
yeah, there's
But
usually a reason they were deleted.
one thing like I noticed, and like I think it's beneficial to being like, yeah, they're just so wishy about their identity and like using to like murder, and it's not, but it's not a trans story in that way. Is it's a weird thing about this to point out because it's nothing to do with this, but I think it adds up of like this person has no ideology or confusion. It's the American flag in his lair. There's the big American flag behind the desk, and
Well, there's
then
the
when
one
he
draped over the car in the storage unit
and
too.
then but then when he's running around, he goes to grab something, and there's a swastika blanket
Mhm.
on the
That
thing.
he knitted. It's like a hand knitted
Yeah,
blanket. Like, yeah.
and not saying American swastikas don't, you know, we know what red hats are, but
Well, they go together. They
but
go together
like
too good.
in a movie like this, like to me that tells me in a subtle way in decoration, like this guy's other than the butterflies. I'm sorry, the monarch,
The
the
death's head
moths.
moths. Yeah.
This guy has fucking nothing out. Like he whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
I mean,
He's all over the map for sure.
yeah, he even
Yeah,
said,
like I
but
said, I think it's just like
Ted Levine even said in his thing how even came to the character is like he was like I took it as my when the mother like his like the way he was even talking about Precious and acting was just kind of him mimicking his mother's actions growing up.
I could see that, sure.
Like even the voice he was giving that doll was like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to act like how my mother acted around the house. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's complicated, and like I said, for its time, I think it's doing its best to try to, to try to humanize that character and not,
Hmm.
not stereotype, people of, adverse sexualities. It has to do more with, his obsession. Like I said, is he trying to achieve femininity, or does he just want power over femininity? You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
there's like, but I think again, like I said, Ted Levine has a load to carry because he doesn't get a lot of backstory and a lot of screen time, and he has to convey a lot. And I just think, it's important to remember him because, the movie, wouldn't be what it is without him. He's,
Oh,
obviously
absolutely.
the other two got their Oscars, but he's definitely a main, as big a part as them in at any way.
And
Although Jame is not a name. Stop saying Jane
Jame,
Gum. That's not a name. Jame is
Jame
nobody.
is
Jame is not a name.
it has to be another acronym. James? You mean
Is
James?
it James? Jamie? Do you mean Jamie? Stop saying
Um,
Jame though.
I do want
Terrible.
to recommend. That's what I was. Though, if people do want to like a more educated and well spoken out like thesis of like not this movie, but like from like a trans woman journal. Blank Check Pod recently did Jonathan Demme last year, so they ended up covering Silence of the Lambs. They had Emily St. James as their guest. She's like a television critic and everything. It was a really good episode, but it was some good insight without, I would say, being that's the goal or main focus. Like
Right.
she's a big fan of the movie and talking about the movie itself. Good episode of potting that I'd say maybe give a little more depth if you were. I don't know why anyone would be listening this long and tuning in and not thinking we would, mention it, but that's all worth talking about when talking about Silence of the Lambs, but I don't think any of that criticism generally takes away from how great this movie is.
No, no, I
And
agree. Um,
um,
so we're let's see. They find a body, right? They
mhm.
find a new body, a fresh body. So
Yes,
they go
in the
to
river.
do an autopsy, and this is another great scene we see of Clarice having to kind of navigate the world, of mostly male dominated law
Well,
enforcement.
Jack does something I'd say shitty because he could have give her a heads up. Like a
Yeah,
lot of problems in life could just be straight up done by,
solve
hey, I'm
with a
gonna
post-it.
solve with the conversation before you do it. He goes to the main guy because it's the FBI coming into like a local police departments or state police departments. And he's like, we got to talk about this privacy. I don't want to talk about this in front of a woman, in front of a woman. And Clarice does not let that go, thankfully. But
Well, I like that
and
she's a pro about it, but
she's pro of it.
when he confronts her later about it,
Oh, he
she's not.
apologized.
She's quick to be like, "Yeah, no, that was fucked up."
Yeah, she apologized, and he goes, "Okay, good. Good to know. Like, you rather me talk. Great." 'Cause she's right. We've had those some sure conversations in workplace. So like, what you do, people are gonna watch and then act a certain way to me.
Yeah,
Like I know
exactly.
I have. But yeah. So they basically she has a moment though where she tells all the men, "Hey, clear out of the room," and they all, huh? And
Well, it's
she's
funny.
respectful.
She knows how to play the game. When it's time to talk to these good old boys, she really puts her accent on. You'll notice like it gets a little thicker when
Hmm.
she talks to all those troopers and stuff. But yeah, they're just a bunch of dudes casually hanging out in an autopsy room with a corpse, and she's like, "All right, let's clear house."
We got to get.
But I do like this is a real turning point for Clarice in the movie. Like she really focuses up after this. Like, not that she wasn't already into it, but like this is where it goes from pictures and theory to there's a body on the table. This is a real girl,
Mhm.
and and it's right
And
here in front of me for the first time, and I think that's really that's really great. And also, I just want to shout out. I, I I I have to do it because of the old days and DVD Bunker and Character Corner. Anytime, and this movie's just full of great character actors. But Tracy Walter, who we all know as Bob the Goon from Batman '89, is
You know,
the is in the
we all know Bob the Goon from '89.
everybody knows Bob the Goon from Batman '89. He's the Joker's right hand man, and he's just a great character actor who pops up all the time, and I love him. And he's in Flyover, legendary Flyover movie, Drowning Mona,
Oh
and
yeah,
he. He, but he's a great character actor who pops up, and he's like one of those, along with Charles Napier, who I mentioned earlier, is like a Jonathan Demme guy, one of those dudes. If Jonathan Demme's making a movie, this guy's going to be in it probably. So
hell yeah. Great. I love that corner. I remember that was the other thing I remember as a kid, the first time watching it, asking, being very confused of what they were the stuff they were putting on their
yeah,
under their
yeah.
nose. It's just
I'll
for the
tell you, working in the
smell.
hospital, I did a similar thing. A couple. I used to have a little Vicks with me and
Mhm. I love how
go
that
into some of
guy,
those rooms and get a little nasty, man.
yeah, the one guy doesn't though, which is so funny. He's like, oh, yeah, but they dissect this body, or they're there talking, and it's disturbing in a sense. But Clarice notices when they take the photo, there's some like black on the tongue. She's like, they're choking, and one guy's like, it's probably
Again, Clarice is
leaves.
always noticing things that other people are missing.
And to me, I did think, oh, kind of odd that like it's been sitting there, and they were gonna get to, I'm sure, getting to the mouth at some point, but probably not right on the new slut with the part of the autopsy. And they pull out, and it's a cocoon. Um, and I I'm just gonna skip forward here. The cocoon, Clarice takes it to she basically finds like local like bug nerds.
Yeah, yeah. Some guys at like a
One guy,
college or something. They're
yeah,
like
one
the
guy's a doctorate, and like one
yeah.
his weird buddies hang out.
And of course,
And
they're creeping on her too. They can't help
but
themselves.
it's so much different because she's like, I feel like absolutely not tensed up, has this attitude of like, what?
Yeah,
I'm
she kind of flirts back because like she's more empowered. Like she's in
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
position of power with these guys a little bit more.
that to me was like the whole movie that's like the most like, you're supposed to feel that way, like humorful flirtation
Yeah.
of
There's not
okay,
a threat. There's less
no,
of a threat in it from this guy.
yeah,
I also want to talk real quick about the Death's Head Moth, just because that is just along with some of the other things we've already said in this movie, the mask and everything. But that's like such iconic horror iconography now. You know what I mean? As far as the image of that moth. I cannot count the number of like kind of like goth horror chicks that I've seen with Death's Head Moth tattoos. That is like
oh, it's their
endless,
yeah. I
endless.
mean, then if you're a real pro, if you got the dolly art in there, like the poster.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
you know what's weird? It was right before I was middle of watching this. I was doing laundry. I went downstairs to change, and I haven't been in my base. I haven't like hung out in my basement in a while. Finished basement, and I'm like, oh, there's like a black thing on the far end, and I went to go grab it, and it was a dead, like perfectly preserved, like moth, like large moth.
oh, like a big yeah, that just like
Yeah, it's
laid
this
there and
base.
died.
It was a base, whatever, and I just went, oh, that's weird. I'm having weird coincidence timing with this movie
Yeah.
today. Um, but yeah, dude,
One of so what you're saying is one of your moths escaped from your dungeon,
oh, you know my
got out of your
dungeon,
secret dungeon.
in my dungeon, and it's such a good I mean, it's such a good metaphor too of like cocooning and like, I mean, obviously transforming. It's all about like, right, transforming into something new
Well,
and
no,
create.
and
But
the book Red Dragon came before this, so that's something that Thomas Harris had like delved into a little bit with the villain in that
mhm.
too, the idea that he was becoming the Red
Well,
Dragon and all
well,
that.
think of yeah, because think of like Buffalo Bill, and I'm not talking about you know his, I guess we'll call it his trans journey. I don't know, but
No, I mean I guess
he's
technically yeah, it can be.
but
It is
I'm saying in
in
the
some
sense of
way.
how I'm going to talk about it is not as a positive, is he's doing it and putting female body, like trying to skin a human skin suit and murdering women to put it onto their body, and essentially, you know, becoming a different thing themselves.
Yeah,
And it's ugly. Moths are not butterflies; they're ugly. A butterfly in a cocoon is pretty. A moth in a cocoon, other than the goth girls with the tats, like at
those
this,
ones are pretty.
maybe this. empowered moths to have a moment like that, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's all there. Like there's layers. Like
Well, also this is
Clarice.
a fancy movie moth. It's not like an ugly regular moth. They
No,
painted these up with little, they got these ones all,
yeah. But anyway, so that's that.
We haven't talked about real quick. We should shout out Cassie Lemons, who plays Ardelia, who is Clarice's friend at the academy. She's pulling double duty with this and Candyman as being the black best friend to our white protagonist. Um, but she's great, as much as she
Oh,
gets
she's
to be in the
fun.
movie. She helps Clarice out. She kind of, again, plays a very similar role where she's like co-investigating when the movie lets her. But, this one's a little bit more. She's like home base. She's like what do you call it? What's he call it in Spider-Man? The guy in the chair. She's that's who's Clarice is checking in with when she's back at
She's
Quantico or
having a good
whatever.
time, and she's basically playing the same role from a Candyman thing,
Right,
just
that's what I'm
being
saying. It's
oh
like
yeah,
double duty. She just came right in.
hey, like her IMDb's light. I don't know what happened to her. She didn't really work much years. Um. Anyway, so she finds that right. That is a lead because then you could narrow it down to who bought these moths,
Yeah, they
where
start
they
to
come
yeah,
from.
they're because they know they have to like be they're like specially brought in and stuff. This is where she goes back to Lecter
She talks to
with the
Lecter
offer,
again.
right? This is where she makes the offer with the to
Ye-
like let him go out to the island or whatever. And this is where the quid pro quo thing starts. This is where we get like
Quid
the
pro quo.
first part
Quid
of
pro quo.
her
Quid.
story.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, that's easy. Not I shouldn't say easy. A scene where the lecture says quid pro quo. Like
Quid pro
I'm not,
quo,
and all that
please.
means is you tell me something, I tell you something. We'll go back and forth because he does want to get inside her brain and know what's
Well, he
going
knows the
on.
more he can get her talking and the more he can ask her questions. I mean, this is what he does. Like he
Yeah.
was,
So she
that's his
goes.
whole thing. He's a psychologist and a fucking master manipulator sociopath.
So she goes. Okay. Um. So he gives her a little bit of Buffalo Bill. Gives a little bit of that, but because she tells him, "I have this great offer for you. You tell us everything you know. You're gonna stay in an island,
Well, first
or
he's going to get moved to a place where he has a view,
a view.
and then
Sorry,
also he gets like a little 1 week vacation every year
yeah,
where he
like
gets to like
swab
walk on
around.
a beach and
Um,
stuff.
and what's important, which I mean, it's important for the story. I don't think for us to talk too much about is Buffalo Bill abducts. It is a great scene. We did skip that. Abducts his last victim in the story. Um,
Basically, the ticking clock of it is we
yeah,
know Buffalo Bill keeps his victims
I was this
alive for a few
girl.
days before he kills them.
She's vibing a fucking Tom Petty, and this dude's like, "Can you help me put this couch in this van?"
This
Like
is a
most,
classic Ted Bundy thing. This is like
but like
how he
most
got
people.
people.
Actually, wait. So interesting you say that, and I'm now remembering a bit of the Unspooled episode I listened to. Amy Nicholson believes she thinks was it Bundy that was
Well,
really
they talk about there's
who
actually three
was
serial killers that Buffalo Bill's based on.
no, but one was like caught right when the movie got released or within those couple months. Like I think it's Bundy.
Oh, that's no, Bundy's earlier. That's probably around Jeffrey Dahmer
Dahmer,
era.
sorry, Dahmer.
Yeah,
Sorry, Dahmer. She goes, I think Dahmer helped this thing get to the Oscars in the sense of it was so in the news and this movie was still in the
I could
theaters
see
and they
that
just
absolutely.
copacetically went hand in
There was
hand.
cannibalism in the air.
Yeah, she obviously says it much more
Yeah, but
thoughtful and
I agree.
eloquently.
But the actual character of Buffalo Bill is based on three serial killers, and one of them is Ted Bundy. And part of his deal was he would wait outside the library with his arm in a cast, and when a
Mhm.
vulnerable girl walked by, he would pretend to drop his books. And when they came over to help him, he'd clunk them over the head with his
I was gonna
cast
say
arm.
yeah, the group stops helps and so
Yeah,
that happens. We find out that is a U.S. senator's daughter.
Right. Bill fucked up a little bit here because he took somebody a little too. He took a white girl who has
High profile.
high profile parents.
And
So this gets the ball really rolling.
yeah. And that's why, like, even think then, like, because you already, like, when you do see her in the well, she's like, she's not even like, she goes, they will pay you whatever you want. My parents are,
I
my
love
mom's
Catherine
powerful.
Martin. I love the kind of victim she is. She yells and tells people to fuck off.
Oh,
I love when Clarice is there to save her, but she doesn't get her out right away, and she's like, "Fuck you, you bitch."
she's so frustrating, that last one. He's like, shut up. She's like, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm in a hole. Um,
Not being like, yo, I didn't kill the maniac yet.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so anyway, so yeah, when Khalees visits fucking Lecter though in that moment, she gives him this offer, which honestly does sound too good to be true.
Yeah.
But I
And I
think,
think that is kind of what I think Lecter kind of already knows. I think that's why he's so much more interested in the conversation. He's like, he kind of like, he accepts the offer in a way, but he's like, what I really want is to talk. What I really want is, you want information, and so do I. I want to share information.
yeah, I
Like,
think
yeah,
she's
this
just,
is fine. This is whatever. But what I want is this, you know?
yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah, I know things like, sure, I'll roll with it. You're gonna roll me out of the cell, and then that fucking snake, that piece,
Chilton.
Chilton goes. Because it really quickly goes, what did they tell you? They lied.
Yeah.
Which I feel like you should be getting arrested by the FBI for doing that. But
But
he
now,
so
but
so
it's
chill.
because he has a connection. He uses the connection to the senator to get a real offer for
Yeah,
Lecter.
Chilton is
Also, something that was cut here is that actually Crawford and Clarice get booted off the case, and like she gets
oh
suspended, but that got edited out. So that's why there's that one real quick scene where Roger Corman's the head of the FBI and is like, did you make some half-ass deal? The senator found out and she's pissed. That was supposed to lead to an actual scene with them, but they
I
cut
like it.
it. Jonathan Demme got some advice to cut it down and like help like tighten up the third
I
act a
like
little
it
bit and
better. I don't
stuff.
think it. I don't think the movie also would play as nicely
No,
if it's
no,
like they're
they get
rogue.
reprimanded to some extent. They basically get kind of pushed off
Yeah.
the Lecter part of the case or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, no, because he was says also about Clarice, like, to someone says to Jack too, like, oh, she's pissed.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. The senator's not happy,
so
obviously.
anyway, and then we get her iconic scene though with his I not right now. I used to write him rolling out and the pop. I had a pop of him right next to me of
Oh, the oh, let's see. Hold on. Do I have mine?
you
Is
got
it in
yours, I
reach?
think. I got mine downstairs.
Oh, oh, this little guy,
Yeah, that's cooler than a Funko
please.
Pop, by the way.
Uh,
Um, isn't he in all white though? Is that from Hannibal? Isn't he in all white?
Shut him down there in the corner.
Isn't it? Yeah, I love it. Isn't he supposed to be in all white in the? Is that what he's dressed as?
Now, this the oh God, I don't even know. This is an
I'm
old
just,
McFarlane toy, I think.
oh, the name of the McFar. And it doesn't. It generally doesn't matter. Because that was a big part of.
This is what he is when he's having his Catherine Martin or his with the senator, and then he's in his all white when he's in his big cage, his third act when
Because
he's got the third act set change.
yes, because there was the part of the things they keep bringing up when you watch special features and thing and behind the scenes is, oh, it was Anthony Hopkins' recommendation and choice that he wears all white or everything's almost all white because of Anthony Hopkins' fear of like dentists. It's like that's scarier than like an orange jumpsuit.
Nice.
So that's the only reason why I thought, but I'm getting my thing confused. Anyway, that scene's pretty fucking great. He talks to the senator and he does the same thing he does to everyone else. He just chews her down and
Yeah.
throws it back in her face.
Yeah. And then like I love the way, she's about to walk away, then he'll give a little bit more information just to draw her back, and then he just starts in on her again. He's just like such a
Mhm.
fucking prick. I
Oh,
love
by the
it.
way, I love your suit.
I love your suit. Um,
Uh,
so
but
good. Yeah, they
yeah, and that's a fun shit too of like was it Lewis Friend and like fool's gold, iron
Yeah,
sulfide,
iron
like
sulfide, fool's
see,
gold.
in a weird way, part of like I think he just knows Clarice is the only one smart enough to figure that one out. Because there's all these ciphers going around, or anagrams, I should say, anagrams
Yeah.
of the names, and that's what he's been doing. So, but his description of Lecter was, I mean, sorry, of Buffalo Bill was accurate.
Yeah, he does mostly give accurate information when he gives it. I love the third act, set change. I love the cage. I love Lecter's big dramatic cage. And they got him held in like a museum or something. Like it's City Hall or some shit. It's really that I love the look of all that. I love, that I
And I
like the
love
way
how
he kind of activates. It's like their first two meetings are in his cell, but now he's like, his plan is enacted and they're gonna have their one last meeting before he kind of like does his
that's
big
my
breakout.
for what like not cinema sins but like criticism of the that's of Clarice getting to that area, you know, after what all went down of them being the liar and like
Yeah.
her, especially with Chitlin being Chilton, like public
I think
enemy number one. Like he's so jealous of her and
Oh
how
yeah.
Lecter talked and information that I was like, all right, we do that's weirdly enough. Only time I'm gonna suspend my disbelief of her getting there.
I just figure it's something like she flashed her FBI credentials to one of the
Well,
local cops who were
you
kind of
see the
stand
scene.
and guard.
Well, you
And
see
then
the
because
scene.
when like once the conversation's over and we have because this is our real big like Jodie Foster's big moment, and we finally hear the story of the
The
lambs and
Rams.
everything, and we really get the finale. But then when they come to drag her out, by the way, George Romero is there to
Oh,
help drag her
is that I
away.
didn't
The
even
guy with the beard is George Romero
shit.
again, another Jonathan Demme like one
Well,
Jonathan
that
Demme
Roger
was his
Corman,
kind of one of his proteges. Same with Roger
yeah,
Corman. That's why those older directors are getting little acting gigs from Jonathan here.
that's fun.
Um, but I think it's that thing like she just got through. She was just she on borrowed time. She knew whatever time she got to talk to Lecter wasn't gonna last. Like
Hmm.
she didn't get there. She snuck in, hook or crook. She
I
got through
know.
there.
Um, so do that. They have their, like you said, the big meeting.
I mean, this is the Oscar scene right here. We literally are this close to both of them. Like the close-ups are so tight.
they're
The
monologuing.
acting that Jodie Foster is doing is just like so. They talk about, I don't know if you remember in the behind the scenes how they were gonna shoot a scene. Like because this movie does have a few flashbacks and they're pretty good. I like
I
the way
re
they're very effective of the way they feel like memory, the way she kind of just fades into them. She
well,
like
they feel like
you feel
her
like she's just
remembering.
thinking about them and that's the way they kind of just happen,
They're not traditionally cut in like you. The first one is her running to her father, coming home from being an officer, and it just I think just shows I love my dad. Like
Yeah.
that's and it's so smoothly transitioning. You do have to kind of go, was that a flashback? Okay, that was a flashback. Okay, let's move on. And then it happens again if a few more times, and then
But this
because
movie does have a couple of those
we
and they
get it in a
talked
funeral
about
home.
yeah, and they talked about I guess initially the idea was as she told the story, they were going to have one of those of the girl going and running off with the lamb. And it was going to be more of a kind of surrealist thing where when in her memory, she would see the guy who was killing the lamb and it would be Lecter. And, it would have that kind of like surreal, kind of like mind bendy vibe. And then when you watch her do it, they were like, how can we do anything but stay on her face? Like, what could be more powerful? What could be better than just holding on her? It's like the Indianapolis speech in Jaws. It's like when she's
Hmm.
telling that story, you are completely captivated by her, and so is
It's
Lecter. That's the
you're
whole point.
stopping. Yeah.
He is as captivated as you are. And they talk about it too. A lot of their scenes play like a seduction. It's not sexual seduction, but there's a back and forth. There's a tension between them.
They
And
wanted they
this
each
moment, they're at their most intimate. He is literally penetrating her mind.
yeah, they each wanted the conversation, the information as much as equally as much. like, and that's flirtatious. Like I said, non-sexually flirtatious.
Yeah.
Just
Although they do, I love the little finger. The only time he ever touches her the whole movie when they pass the
mhm.
when he passes her the file and he just brushes his finger along hers. It's like it's kind of it's like even though you know he's bad news, you kind of are like, I want those two crazy kids to get together.
They should just run away at the end scene. I love the end, the very last ending. Feel like because you know what he's doing, the guy's running away, but it just feels like, this is great. What a lovely happy ending for Mr. Lecter. He's out in the bout.
Oh yeah, just living his best life. And
Yeah,
honestly, that's funny because that's is pretty much where Hannibal picks up. The movie Hannibal is like he's in Venice. He's about to become the like this museum curator. He's basically like living his fucking dream. It's kind of great.
but Lecter, after our big scene, we then get the big kill scene though. That Lecter,
Well, and I would say this in the same way we talked about the face-to-face interactions, the interrogations, his kind of elaborate escape plan also bred a series of like villains who are always one step ahead of you and
mhm.
always are, you think you've got them, but they're already out the door, kind of.
Oh yeah, and the in the filmmaking, they do a lot of cool shit of just like, they make a big point early on of like you can't bring anything near them, pens and this and then we see, Chilton's hubris the whole time. There's always a fucking pen. He's always close. He's doing this. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't listen to
Well, he doesn't
anything.
follow his own rules,
Yeah, and then that's the end. That's the demise of those two guards, basically. So he murders. It's the most gruesome scene of the movie in the sense of like killing and
I
uh
swear, I think for me the meanest part of the whole thing is like the guard he grabs, he chews his face a little bit, and then there's just a scene where he's just like spraying mace in the dude's face with like a dead-eyed stare. It's just so nasty.
yeah, well, he does that, and then even like the iconic like freaking Billy clubbing him down, but yeah, he just
And like the
spraying him.
really like methodical backhand, forehand,
Yeah,
like just like it's
yeah,
good.
and he puts his face on his face and the guard suit on and rolls himself out of there. Anybody
Yeah, and it's
hangs,
there's this and a few we'll get to at the very end of gore moments that probably make give this movie its more horror
yeah,
reputation
and he
and
hangs
like some
up.
of the more graphic kind of like autopsy stuff. But for the most part, this movie's pretty tame,
Oh,
especially
it's
by today's
procedural.
like you
It's,
talked about everything that you see here, you're seeing 10 times worse in an episode of Criminal
I mean, we
Minds.
said the
Like,
same. I think the first episode of this show said the same thing as Seven. Like you
yeah,
actually look at Seven, other than a few little scenes.
yeah.
Not
There's a
it's
couple of
just
shocking
procedural.
moments, but like your average episode of Bones has more graphic
Yeah,
horror in it than Seven does or
yeah.
Silence of the
It's
Lambs.
just like the best version of this. So yeah, so
Well,
he
because it's again not to keep coming back to another classic like Jaws, but used sparingly. They don't overdo it. Their moments of graphic horror are like just are punctuation.
because Hannibal Lecter, I think it is a negative. It for a movie nerd and like this and that. Like we both saying you have the Lecter figure and I have I have the
Sure.
pop. We both have the same figure basically. I have two Lecter figures actually. It's like he isn't, at least when we first meet him, these characters aren't they're not Freddy or Jason or like our slashers or Leatherface or whatever, like, designed to be like iconic silhouettes and looks and
Sure.
should be and then collecting toys. It's fun too, but it's almost a disservice to the original movie that it's like this is the this
Yeah.
is the pop culture icon.
Yeah, this is a
Um
classier movie. This movie is like
and
deserves better a little
I
bit. Yeah.
I do have actually this goes with the scene we were just talking about, and I'm remembering this. I do have another pop of him on all white, the all white and blood spotted on him, and it's on his
Oh,
face. My nephew Wes, he's 4.5 today. I mean not today, but yeah, he's 4.5. About when he was two. Yeah, 2.5, two. We watched him. It's the first time we ever watched him. We don't have like many toys. We got some, but I took all these pops. Most of them are horror. Someone just gave them to me. Like a
Yeah.
coworker gave me like 20 horror pops. Like, oh, I'll take them all. I threw them down. Wes picks it up or goes, oh, that guy has juice all over him. Swear to God. And he go, oh, and I kind of like, well, then I'm like, oh, maybe
He's
we
so
don't.
messy with his
That's
juice.
almost what he said. Because he made a mess with his juice. And I literally like, oh yeah. And then eventually like I like move it out of its thing. I'm like, oh maybe this is the one. I don't know if your mom wants she's not here, but I don't know if your mom wants you playing with you know, blood-soaked Lecter, even though it looks like a silly Funko Pop. Cause like this one, Freddy Groundskeeper Willie, I was just able to be like, oh yeah, it's just a guy with a rake.
Yeah, that's fun. He's a little Simpsons guy.
But that was very funny. It's just juice. Sorry, that's good memory. Um anyway, iconic scene, truly iconic scene. Lecter's on the run. Our
Oh, I
doctor's
did
like,
want
oh
to say
shit.
real quick before we leave Lecter's
Yeah, because I'm gonna
big
jump,
final
kind of
scene,
gonna.
the reveal of the guard Charles Napier, splayed out, hung up, disemboweled. That model, Charles Napier took it and he hung it on the gates of his ranch for
Really?
years and years. He used to have like a big disemboweled version of himself
Oh,
hanging
that's
up at his
amazing.
ranch out in
Uh,
like North Dakota or wherever he lived, which is, I think that's rad as hell.
that's fucking amazing. Did I guess question would I guess that's where you another scene you suspend disbelief pretty much. It's like the pageantry to get that all up there and figure like
How do he again? We're giving him the Jason Voorhees pass where he can
yeah.
pose bodies and have him jump out however he wants because he's transcended now.
I also
Um,
you're
but
talking
yeah,
about
that's a great. We also have another. I gotta shout out another great cameo here. Not cameo, but character corner cameo. Character actor Daniel von Bargen. He's Super Troopers and from Seinfeld and just from everything. He pops up.
oh
He's one of the
yeah.
guys who shoots him when
Well,
shoots who they think is Lecter when they're laying on the when he's laying on the elevator top. But he
this
just pops
is
in as one of the SWAT guys. Like I said, Chris Isaacs, the musician, is also there as one of the SWAT
he's
guys.
yeah. I mean, Dana von Bergen's recognizable from Seinfeld, but
Oh yeah, definitely
he
from Seinfeld, but also Super Troopers. I think is a big one for me
that's a
too.
good one. Yeah, but one thing it was noted in that doc and bringing up is, and I think there's a credit to like Jonathan Demme and like not to call people that aren't hired guns like real filmmakers, but like because I don't even call Jonathan Demme an auteur. I would be like he's a really good
No, he
filmmaker, right?
referred to himself as a journeyman director.
He's a
Like
journeyman director. He's a hired gun, but even that, right? Like, and it's what like you say we were saying earlier, like it doesn't always happen. And I'm sure directors want it was like all these side background characters and they're not even really supporting roles. They're just there. They're all interesting looking. They're all someone in the sense, but they're all bringing a bit of weight to all these fucking parts
yeah,
and
we haven't talked. I
movements.
mean, we've mentioned his name. We've mentioned Jack Crawford a couple times. We haven't not mentioned Scott Glenn, who is like Jack Crawford's a bigger character in the books than he has time to be in the
Hmm.
movies. But Scott Glenn's great. This is definitely the first thing I ever saw him in, and he's
Yeah,
somebody when he shows up. He was just in the most recent season of White Lotus,
he's
and I'm
very. Oh, I
I
see.
pop for Scott Glenn now when I see him.
He's very. I'll say this. He's very. Positive, like the way he looks and the have a hat and the way he acts and who he's supposed to be. Disalarming, and I'm not like annoyed with his like status of who he's supposed to be in the movie. He's played that so well, right?
Yeah,
Like that character could easily be, to compare it to another movie we mentioned, that character easily could be like Ted Raimi in fucking Candyman. I know who's supposed to be like scummy and bad, but like
mhm.
a character like that always talking to Clarice, pulling the strings. I don't, I keep saying I don't read it as nefarious. Like even when
Yeah,
like Lecter tries to get under the skin of like, do you ever think about Jack? This
yeah.
and she's like, no, never. And I'm like, yeah, I straight up believe that is a just a copacetic relationship,
Oh yeah, yeah. I think
and
maybe
that I
a
would attest
lazier.
to a Scott Glenn.
Yeah, I think maybe a lazier movie might have tried to like lay in, but
I
I
think a
think there's
lazier
enough
movie.
of that. There's enough of people creeping on Clarice, there's a different relationship going on
Well,
with her and Jack.
I
There's
would
more
say
of a father-daughter
yeah,
thing, and that's also kind
part
of
of the
what she has
theme.
going on with Lecter. It's like a non-sexual
Well,
mentor, mentee,
yeah.
father-daughter kind of vibe.
Oh yeah, and the that's my point of bringing of the thing with Scott Glenn is saying you cast someone else in that it could have that and you do it exactly the same
Well, you
and
think
it
of
could have it.
Ray Liotta in Hannibal. He's got that inherent sleaze where, like,
Yes,
immediately you know he's a guy who hit on Clarice. I mean,
great.
they make it explicit, but like you didn't even have to. We
Oh,
know.
great comparison. So anyway, I'm kind of gonna roll us to like more of the end, not our last
Well,
our
yeah, we're
last
into
scene
the
though.
final. It's funny, like the whole movie is so fiercely from Clarice's perspective, except it takes like 10 minutes to take a little break from that and do Hannibal's escape. And then we go back to Clarice and we like
So
finish up with her and Buffalo Bill.
so we get this great. These will always work on me. These the edits of you think they're going to one place and one thing's happening, but it's actually the reverse. Like as a sophisticated movie watcher, I kind of know when it's happening now, but they do work on me.
What is the
This
movie where they do that and they bust in on an old couple having sex? I was trying to think of it. There's one of these
this is a
movies,
movie.
and I cannot think of which one it is. And I know it's
You
just gonna
got
be
to
one of
get
those
back
things
to me on
where I'll
that.
be
It's like
watching a movie and it'll happen. I'll be like, oh shit, it was this one. But I cannot for the life of me. There's one where they do the SWAT thing and they break into the wrong house, and it's like they busted on an old couple getting it on.
I. It sounds
Hmm.
so from
If anybody remembers, put it in the comments.
bad
I've been racking my brain.
Bad Boys 2, Bad
Is
Boys
it Bad Boy? Is
2.
it a Bad Boys movie?
No, but it
I
seems
feel like
doesn't
I
say.
don't watch enough Bad Boys for it to have been there for me
No,
to
Bad
remember it
Bad
from
Boys
that.
2 is a fucking treasure, but it feels like something that would be in that, but it's not.
I don't know.
That sounds familiar. But yeah, so
Or it
that's
could
how
be a bit, could be one of those, what do they call it, Mandela effects, where it's just like a thing I think would be funny, and I just like thought about it so many times I made it happen in my brain, kind of thing.
you think it's in Crank.
Yeah,
It sounds like something in Crank.
it does sound like a crack gag, and honestly, if
It
they
would
missed a beat if they didn't
yeah,
do that.
yeah. No, so Clarice calls up Jack and she's like, I figured, she's like, I kind of got to leave here. I figured it. And Jack goes, no, we got it. We
Yeah, we
figured it
got
out.
it.
He's outside of Chicago. We're on the way there. The SWAT team. She's like, oh great.
They're
She's like,
going based on what Lecter told them. They think
yeah,
they found the guy.
yeah. And she's like, okay, great. I'm gonna just wrap up. I'll meet you. And they're like, don't even bother. We'll see you back. But because Clarice
I like
says,
he does say, he tells her there, he's like,
you'll be
you're gonna
rewarded.
get credit for what happened here. This is because of you. You made this
Yeah.
happen. We won't forget it.
And that's a nice moment. And I, for a split second, I did confuse this scene up with the speed scene where I'm like, oh, and they all die.
The bomb goes. They open up the door and the bomb
I
goes off.
know, I know it wasn't, but it was
That
like
would be amazing. Or that,
my
or like, was it Point Break? There's a big
Saw.
foot chase. It's a big
Yeah.
Keanu's just chasing Buffalo Bill through like the back alleys and stuff.
And a bad movie would have had Clarice chasing fucking Bill through the
Oh God,
houses and
that scene with it. I mean, yes, the fake out is incredible. The like,
so that's right again.
and
So
then
the fake
and
out.
Scott Glenn's realization that Clarice is in the right spot. That she called him to tell him I'm onto something, and he blew her off. And again, he underestimated her again, and
He's like,
she's there, like she's
yeah.
got the guy.
Yeah, and he answers, and we're like, I mean, as audiences, oh shit, because
Yeah.
right before this, like Buffalo Bill, um, uh, the girl in the well,
Catherine.
Catherine, is able to finally get her hands on Precious the dog.
Precious the dog,
Boom.
also a star of the movie The Burbs.
Yes,
Shout
but
out.
I look at Precious the Dog's IMDb. It goes over that the credits go around Twitter a lot.
Mhm.
It's like 4 roles and they're all fucking iconic.
Yeah, she rules.
Uh, it's great. I see it all the time. But so she gets her hand out while Buffalo Bill's he has his like skinned head wig on. He more looks like David Lee Roth.
Right. Well, they're doing their most iconic moment here with the goodbye
Goodbye
horses and the
horses.
tucking and the
Or fuck
dancing.
you. Fuck me.
Uh,
Would you
Yeah.
fuck me? But he's having his moment.
But while he's doing that, she manages to kidnap Precious down, get Precious down in the pit with her.
Because she's playing music so loud, gets
Yeah.
down there, and then he hears it. So my point of bringing it up, it's in a moment where he's actually distraught, but the doorbell's going off, and it's Clarice at the door. He goes up there, and she's like, okay, and she invites him. He goes, come in. I have the number of the person's like son who
Well,
used
no,
to
it's
live
important
there.
to note there's a moment here, because in Clarice's mind, they got the guy, they're
Yeah, you're
finishing it.
right.
So she doesn't really, she's kind of like not taking this too seriously. But when he says, was she a great big fat person?
Mhm.
Now, granted, for all of us, that's just kind of a mean laugh in that moment in the movie,
Yeah.
right? But and Jodie Foster talks about this, it triggers something in Clarice. There's something about the kind of cruel crassness of that statement that makes her push a little harder and ask a
Well,
little bit more about
well,
the woman who used to live there and and all this, and that's
certainly.
when he invites her in, and
Yeah.
his plan is to kill her,
Yeah.
but
He kind of figures
I had
like,
never thought about that in that
no,
line,
you're
and
bringing.
it's a great, it reminds me of Fargo and the Mike Yanagita scene. It's a thing that most people consider a throwaway, but it's important to Marge's character that's the interaction with Mike Yanagita is where she learns that people aren't always what they seem, and someone, and that's what makes her go back to Jerry Lundegaard to check in with him again, which kind of spurs his last run when he runs off. So it's a similar type of thing where just a little thing that changes the way she thought about
Well,
the moment she was in,
yeah, well, she's also like, yeah,
Also,
I think
she's
she's
Clarice
picked.
Starling, and she notices things other people don't notice. And when a red flag goes up, she pays attention to
Yeah,
it.
I would say like,
Like,
but like, it is not normal for someone to say she a great big fat person.
yeah,
Like it would just be, oh yeah, I know that woman. Like
yeah.
I
No,
recognize
it
her.
definitely raised an eyebrow, but I just like that. I'd never really
I also took
understood that moment in that way, and I think that's very
I
interesting.
also took that as one of the things of Buffalo Bill, as these serial killers do think this or these movies tell us, I'm smarter than you. I'm fucking with you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this thing to you because
Well, and
that's
then
what
when he gets her in the house, he's doing that classic thing where he's trying to interrogate her about what the cops know and
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, they
And then
gotta
I
do.
love that moment's so tense. That's got that same energy as the basement scene in Zodiac, that kind of palpable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the moment where he kind of starts to realize that she's onto him and he starts laughing. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is such an unnerving, it would have been so easy for him to go scary mode there and get real
Yeah.
and really
Yeah.
lower
No, he
glower
just
at
starts
her and
laughing and then
but
he
the fact that he kind of giggles because he knows he's caught. He knows this is the end game. Whatever happens here, whether he kills her or she gets him or whatever, we're in the end game now, and it's kind of
mhm.
exhilarating to
I
him, and
I
that's such a cool
I
vibe.
also take that laugh too as, oh, I know this. Like, so this movie is about labyrinths and shit. I
Yeah,
know this house and the mazes of these house. So,
yeah.
sure.
Right.
And
I
I'm gonna
already
run off.
got you. You don't know it, but
Yeah,
you're already
because
you're in my
because
trap.
another part of Clarice realizing, um,
Great
is that
Jodie
scene.
Foster face acting here,
Is
so
that scene.
subtle.
Just looking like noticing the things around and the questions he asking of like the 2 years moving, like the place is a hoarding dump. Like it doesn't look like someone's lived there for like to get to where it is for two
Yeah.
years. And I think part of her, and she's like, okay. And obviously then she noticed the fucking monarchs and the butterflies and,
Yeah, once she sees the moth, that's the thing. That's the moment. And then
mm.
we're all on the same page and you have that fear for her because you
You
don't
know, they
know
put
how
the moths on harnesses and like leashes kind of to get them to do what they're,
to kind of get him to stay around.
yeah. Like this was like a humanitarianly done picture. Anyway, interesting. I was like, oh, that's neat to be like, okay, now fly. Um,
Oh.
uh,
Oh.
but but yeah, so she does that, yeah, and he runs through and she like she falls, they have their thing, she goes down to the
She goes
well.
down, down the basement again. We have the great scene with her and Catherine. I love the way Clarice is like bluffing about like, oh, there's the rest of the cops are coming. They'll be here any minute. She's just doing her best to gotta like bluff her way through it. And then the lights go out.
And and this is the only time in the movie you're not briefly in Clarice's perspective because
Yeah.
you are looking at her through night vision, and it, it's not humorous. It's humorous in the sense we all look like that in the dark. Like
Yeah.
in the lights
They
out.
got, I mean, they do a great job, the wide eyes and like the fumbling, and yeah,
And
it's
she
really
doesn't
good.
even know the room she's in, which is like, she could have, and she knows that part of this was just spinning a lot of like, you didn't realize like she just saw a well in the other room. Like
Yeah, you don't
she
want to
probably
fall in
also
that
doesn't,
well.
she also probably doesn't know what other wells might be in that fucking
Yeah,
basement.
absolutely. Could be something else down here I don't want to fall in. But
Yeah.
again, this is another scene, and like we talked, like you were just talking about, kind of Bill's overconfidence and his like confidence in his power over women. He's been so dominant over women. He does not see
Well,
Clarice as a threat. He's toying with her.
well, instead of just
And it's
shooting
his
her, it's
like
trying to
kind of
touch her.
hesitation and his obsession, and he wants to reach out and touch her femininity, and kind of like
Mhm.
draws him in. And then when she hears that click, she does not hesitate, boy.
Nope. That's
Uh,
she knows her surroundings, so she knows the sound of a fucking gun going off.
well, and I like too, if you pay attention in that scene, she's doing all the things that we see her kind of training to do in the beginning about clearing rooms and like
Hmm.
checking her sides and all that. It's all like comes back again, the planned payoff of good filmmaking.
Yeah. She's always checking in the room, and even like without the dark, like feeling the wall, like that, she goes right to it, and
Yeah.
yeah, she fucks him up. And
Yeah. I love the way, she shoots him in the window so we get light again, and she's like reloads that gun really quick, but he is gurgling, he's done. Like
mhm,
she gets ready in case she needs to shoot him again, but no, she did her job right the first time. This guy's finished. Like
yeah.
he's sputtering and gurgling, ain't no coming back. I love that Catherine is carrying Precious still when they're coming out of the house. I'm like, they're gonna be a little support group for each other. They're both victims. I bet Precious
Precious
saw some fucked up shit.
Precious gets to go live at a nice Republican senator's house.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Catherine's probably never leaving that house ever again
Yeah,
with
no
Precious.
kidding. Catherine's gonna become a recluse.
Yeah, but yeah, so Starling, we see her, she graduates the FBI, and
I love the idea that she graduates after all this, and it's like, can you imagine being Clarice Starling's fucking classmate and having to like hear about how she solved the Buffalo Bill case before you even like you're like studying for finals, and she's fucking solving the Buffalo
uh,
Bill murders with Jack Crawford and
well,
getting her name in the fucking paper and shit,
and
probably.
then that there's probably one professor is like, oh, it was, everyone always seemed hard on her in that, but like,
Yeah.
you didn't clear that room. You should probably have to do that again. It's like, shut the fuck up. Give me my badge.
Yeah. And just like you have to be there at the ceremony, everybody was talking about it. And you're all like, I was top of my class in profiling.
Yo, don't those like in any like the scenes in any of these movies, which I'm sure it's like somewhat accurate, some not. These academies seem like, I mean, for like an afternoon, seem like fun where they're like, oh, what do you mean you're like running around with actors pretending to like arrest and like
Yeah.
shoot like, I mean, I've never shot a gun, but like shoot like blanks and
Yeah.
wherever, and like I'm
Do
like,
fake SWAT missions and stuff. That
yeah,
sounds like, yeah,
like the
no wonder they
Alphonse
like to.
course,
Yeah, that's why
fine.
these fucking cops all play act as soldiers all the time. They all
Yeah,
got their SWAT gear on because
yeah,
it's fun and it
yeah.
feels.
Like I mean, and it might be a cause of this movie. It's in like every fucking cop movie.
Oh yeah.
It's
I
fuck.
mean,
It's in Paul Blart. It's a big part of Paul Blart.
yeah, it's in Point Break. You got the training sequence at the beginning of
Yeah,
Point Break.
it's literally like Men in Black. A great scene in Men in Black
Yeah.
though. Um, but she does that, and then the big ending is um
Well, she actually gets a like legitimate, respectful handshake from Jack Crawford, where like so much so they focus in on, they do a shot of the handshake, and it's like really meant to, I think, let you know that like he respects her now more than he ever thought he would. Like he never expected this from her, and she went above and beyond, and then it impressed him, and that like
Mhm.
he goes out of his way, I think, to show it in the only way that a man like him is capable, which is a respectful handshake.
I mean, how the fuck could you not?
Oh yeah, I mean you have to bow down and kiss the ring. Like she fucking did your job better
She
than
saved your
you.
career.
Yeah, seriously, you
You
were
were
on.
you were
Look, if
you
you
were
had,
getting
if Catherine died, that senator, that's it for you. She's gonna bury you.
oh that center and you're getting fired for that Lecter stunt.
Yeah, yeah.
Like or demoted to fucking
You're gonna be a
the
fucking beat cop after
the
this.
the the FBI in Tennessee.
Yeah,
Anyway, um, so during the celebration and all of this, there's a call for her. It's Lecter,
I love it.
and it's great because he just said, he brings back the lambs, have the lambs stop crying, and and she said, or so I'm sorry, have the lambs stop screaming, and he just said, I'm not gonna come after you, but I'm having an old friend for dinner, and he's looking right at fucking
And I
Chilton.
think the implication is I
Well,
won't come
Chilton's on
after
the
you as
run.
long as you don't come after me.
Well, yes, and
Like
she
if
kind
you
of
don't come looking, we won't have a problem.
tells him, "I'm gonna look for, like, she alludes that I'm not taking your offer. Like, I will be
Yeah.
looking for you." But there's that respect. It's kitschy, in the sense of like,
Yeah, I mean it is like I said,
well,
there's an
Chilton's on the
actual
run,
FBI guy, their consultant on the commentary, and he of course didn't like that like Lecter gets to walk off into the sunset and gets kind of like almost a cheer moment at the end. But
I
it's
think
also
this
and
movie.
then but Jodie Foster said she kind of felt the same way, and then she saw the movie and she's like, oh yeah, this fucking works. And she saw it with the crowd and the crowd loves it, and she's like, and that's all that matters.
And let's give it some identity though, because like I don't know, the movie is heavy, right? You have all this heaviness happen that last 20 minutes in the scene.
Yeah.
Movies like this, I don't have a problem. It's kind of nice to
And with a
end
little
on
moment of levity is
and a
fine,
little
yeah.
levity, a little laugh. Like the audience knows they're seeing a movie. They know this is a bad dude. Like it's a different movie.
But we
If
also, but Demi also knows that Anthony Hopkins is likable, and by the end of this movie, you're gonna like him. Like you're
and
gonna like him as an actor, no matter how what. You can't help it.
yeah,
He's magnetic.
and it's a different movie. I mean, generally a different movie or story, not the movie itself is different.
Yeah,
Oh, and we got and if there was a line of, huh, oh, and we grabbed Lecter at the airport.
yeah,
He was chowing down on the taxi driver, right?
yeah,
That's a different movie. That's not this movie. It's not about it's not about getting Lecter.
yeah.
Anyway, great movie. Like I said, this was a huge one we covered.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we covered
I think
everything
we
as
did
much
a
as we
lot.
could. I love this one. Like I said, this definitely made it. I've done two top 10 horror lists, and this definitely made it on one. But I would easily say if I put those two lists together, this would make the top 10, if not the top five.
I think
It's iconic.
you did those
It's a
years
great
ago.
movie.
You did those years ago. I've done them. I think for fear in our show, at some point in the future, we should.
I've got new favorites that could make the
I
list.
said we should create a list. Maybe it'll be a combined list where we have like a
Both come in with 10 and then like kind of
we
converge
we do
on a 10 for
this.
the show.
Yes, we do this offhand and do our top 10 together, and we could talk about that. I think that's a good idea to
Hey,
revisit.
I'm up for something like that.
Because
That
I
sounds like a
don't.
Halloween. It sounds like a Halloween special to
Yeah,
me.
because I've never put the Silence of the Lambs in my top 10, but that's not because like
It's
it
because you don't necessarily maybe think of it as horror when you're thinking of
yeah, it's a
horror
thriller, right?
movies.
Like it's like the Zodiac makes my top 5 movies of all time, right? I bring it up all
Yeah,
the time. But that's not making top 10 horror because I don't say it's horror, but same vibe. That's my point.
yeah.
Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Like I said, nice robust episode. Brian fucking brought it.
We
Um,
love talking movies and we love
love
Silence of the
talking
Lambs.
movies. We do. Uh, we'll see you next time. And if you're watching the next one, it's hopefully another Criterion somewhere. I don't know.
Ooh,
That was
yeah,
made
Joe's going to
up.
come up with a good one for us.
All right. Stay frightful, everyone. Bye.
No.